We know how to get a party started.
Wow, dude.
Yeah. We know how to get a party started.
Hope the Academy invites me back.
She's so honest. She's so authentic.
Oh, my kids love it. They're so proud of me.
Started a friendship with August. We actually became really, really good friends.
He was really sick.
Major inspiration, right?
Yeah.
Jada Pinkett Smith is a study in self-aggrandizing and self-serving language. Almost everything she says is designed to make sure that she isn't held accountable and make sure that she comes across as sympathetic. Thus, she uses victim narratives and euphemisms that sound about as authentic and riveting as this underappreciated movie.
And he's after you and Sam.
And what about you, Slade? He's after you too, or had you forgotten about that?
Right. Point is, what are you doing about it?
I'm gonna finish my workout.
How does Jada try to garner sympathy, and how do the journalists help her? Let's find out by watching some outrageous moments from one of Jada's interviews. What do you think about the clips we're about to see? Let us know in the comments. Make sure you watch until the end, because things are about to get inspiring. Let's go for it.
There was a point that you thought your kids would be better off without you.
Right.
And I thought about that long and hard.
I felt like they had their dad, you know.
And that was more important.
And that was more important.
People like Jada, who use narratives as a rhetorical tactic in order to garner sympathy, know that you have to make self-effacing statements in order to seem strong and brave, which is the message she really wants to get across. Therefore, it comes as no surprise that later in the interview, Jada talks about courage. She has a script, a clear agenda for what she wants to achieve with these interviews. Also, this gives her the opportunity to make it sound like she wasn't putting herself first, that it wasn't a selfish thought. Next, she continues with this honorable self-portrayal.
Meaning like, what help could I be to them? You know what I mean? In that state. And, you know, I just didn't feel that I had the level of self-worth to stick around.
In Jada's language, there's an unusually high distribution of expressions like, you know what I mean, and you know.
You know what I mean, you know.
And
that appeal to shared knowledge, as if Hoda and Jenna know exactly what Jada is talking about, which of course they don't, because they haven't lived Jada's life. This assumption of agreement is one of the ways that Jada is allowed to control the conversations or monologues she's in. Also, this passage demonstrates the drama that someone with Jada's personality craves, making sure that the alleged negative thoughts about herself are made as public as possible in order to garner sympathy. In the Red Table Talk, she behaved the same way and most certainly seemed to have gotten her self-worth back, in case it was ever gone.
With August, what do you feel like you were looking for?
I just wanted to feel good. It had been so long since I felt good.
According to the argument model, Jada's claim is that she thought her family would be better off without her. The grounds for that claim are that she couldn't be of help to them. The warrant then becomes that because she couldn't be of help, they'd be better off without her. Backing provides extra proof, allegedly, for the warrant, and we see that in the following. She uses backing to make her narrative seem more credible.
Everybody around me, every single person around me knew that something was wrong. They were just like, we couldn't figure it out. And I said, it's okay. They feel so bad. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I said, it's okay. I didn't even know what was going on. You know it.
This gives Jada the opportunity to come across as the overbearing, struggling protagonist in the narrative she's created, while hammering the point that it's not just her saying and believing this, which is exactly the point of backing and the recurring appeals to shared knowledge.
You know what I mean? You know it.
The reason why many people are skeptical of a narrative is because of her many romanticizing, unreliable details, such as the following. Hang on.
What do you think they would say about you and putting your truth out like this?
My kids?
Yeah.
Oh, my kids love it. Like, they've been waiting.
Are they proud of you?
They're so proud of me. They've been living this life with us, you know, and so they're so happy. Oh, my kids love it.
For once, I'll agree with the terrible expression, your truth.
And putting your truth.
Because this is indeed Jada's truth, and not necessarily the truth. What I won't agree with is Jenna's way of feeding Jada the answer by introducing the adjective proud.
Are they proud of you?
A better question would have been to ask how they feel about it. But then again, this isn't so much an interview as promotional material. Jada will have us believe that the children are happy and proud.
Like my kids, they love every part of me. You know, they love every part of the journey.
Yes, because nothing says safety and stability like the strong and independent way that she and Will have organized their marriage.
I called them and we went out, and I haven't been able to get rid of them since. And you think there is not going to be straying eyes. That didn't seem realistic at all. There are different stages in my marriage where Will and I decided we were not together, and where we've gone and lived our separate lives.
Not to mention the Oscars. That must have been a happy and proud moment too.
I'm out here. Richard. Wow, dude.
Yeah. Hope the Academy invites me back. Thank you.
It's worth noting that there are no counter questions. Hoda and Jenna don't ask a question like, what do you mean, happy and proud? When Jada has answered, they move on to the next quote-unquote question. This reminds me of when Oprah, referring to Adele, got away with using the euphemism liberation rather than divorce.
I think she's going to really liberate a lot of people, male, female, in marriages that no longer work. You know, the reality of that was not really making her happy. And so she's freed herself from the marriage, which I think is so liberating because so many people stay for the children.
There are no questions about whether or not Adele's motives and actions are selfish. Instead, it's all about being happy. It's all about self-realization. And the journalists are on board with it too.
I think that's true, Oprah. You got to make yourself happy, and then happy parents, happy kids is a good policy. But, you know, it's interesting.
Or like the time Brendan Whitworth, CEO of Anheuser-Busch, which brews Bud Light, got away with evading questions about the backlash.
Knowing what you know now, if you could go back, would you send this can to this one person again?
There's a big social conversation taking place right now, and big brands are right in the middle of it.
So this is a part of why you're getting it from all sides, because I asked you, would you do it again? So how much is this marketing boo-boo, whatever you want to call it, costing Bud Light?
We're focusing on investing behind the brand right now. So we're actually increasing the investment on Bud Light 3 times this year as we move forward.
I know you say you're moving forward, and I think that's the right attitude. I get it.
The problem with today's journalism is that it doesn't seem journalistic at all. In the vast majority of cases, the journalists are merely holding the microphone. And when they finally try to ask tough questions, they don't have the necessary logical foundation to do so.
What hate speech are you talking about? Well, you've asked me whether my feed, whether it's got less or more. I'd say it's got slightly more.
That's why I'm asking for examples. Can you name one example?
I honestly don't. Honestly, I don't.
You can't name a single example.
Next, I'm sure we'll get a good, solid, and factual question. You know what I mean? It's got to happen at some point, you know.
I feel like you've had a lot of angels in your life who've been hovering around you, and
there's nothing like a journalist who feels things, especially when it's something as realistic as this. Next, we're introduced to Debbie Allen, whose warm personality Jada can use to garner sympathy, which is what this book and all of these interviews are about. Aside from money, of course. Money is number one. Nothing sells like sincerity or pretend sincerity.
Some help.
You like her by your side, so why don't we just bring her by your side one more time? Come on, Debbie!
Yes, Debbie.
Don't we all need these women that make us feel seen and worthy?
Yeah. She was the first. She was the first.
It seems that journalism is a thing of the past. Debbie is an intentional distraction from the issues, a distraction from the negative attention Jada has attracted, and that have resulted in skepticism and criticism. Hoda and Jenna assist Jada in her search for sympathy, and Debbie's the perfect helper in this search. She seems warm and nice, so somebody like her can love Jada. Jada can't be all bad, right? That's the thought process we're supposed to have.
That love is, you can feel it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Debbie, I wonder, like you've watched your beloved put out her heart into a book, give it to the world. What is it? Are you proud?
That's that leading question again. I wonder what Debbie will answer. I haven't been this excited in years.
I'm
in this moment,
proud of her. I
so proud of her courage.
And there we have the word courage. This is the moment that's been foreshadowed by all the self-effacing claims. Let's hear what else Debbie has to say. Something authentic, I hope.
She's so honest. She's so authentic.
Yes, honest and authentic indeed. That must be why she and Will went on the Red Table Talk, to intentionally give people a false impression of how they had overcome their struggles.
We never, ever, ever thought that we would make it back.
Yeah, 25 years and counting.
We ride together,
we die together.
Bad marriage for life.
That must be why Jada said that she and Will had a beautiful relationship, but couldn't and wouldn't substantiate that claim.
If you were to
We're
describe
in the
your
most
relationship.
beautiful place.
Yeah.
I will never leave Will's side. And let me tell you, it's been beautiful. It's been beautiful.
What does that beauty look like for you day in and day out? So are y'all living together?
It's just this beautiful connection. We will.
Look at that.
Not right now. It's just this beautiful connection.
That must be why Jada herself used the word authentic to describe their relationship, and uses it later in this interview too, because having to say that something's authentic doesn't sound overly convincing or overcompensating at all.
And the beautiful part about it is like this whole journey, as difficult as it's been, has just brought Will and I closer in such an authentic way. You know?
She's so honest. She's so authentic.
Yes, it totally doesn't sound like a coordinated effort. All of this can be understood in terms of celebrity branding. Celebrity branding is about enhancing the celebrity's similarity and likability. Having Debbie in the studio adds to the similarity, tapping into values that the audience recognizes from their own lives, and thus that they're able to identify themselves with. Similarity increases the potential for likability, that Jada will seem more likable as a result of it. And as if we don't have enough pathos already, Hoda has another question up her sleeve. A question which invites the audience to cry along.
It's just wonderful. Covers so much of Jada's beautiful life. But I thought one of my favorite questions to ask somebody when I interview them is, who's your 2 a.m. phone call? Who's the person you call when you're on your knees and you have one phone call? And for Jada, Debbie, that one phone call over and over again was you. When she was at her worst.
No, this doesn't seem too dramatic at all. I hope the Oscar committee is paying attention. That is, if they're not too busy planning the next skit with Will and Chris Rock.
I thought it was a skit,
Next we observe another element from celebrity branding. Familiarity. Making sure that the audience is familiar with Jada's work. Anything to bring the audience closer to Jada in this commercial. Did I say commercial? I mean interview. An honest and authentic interview.
We remember back when you described how you saw Jada as a young actress, Debbie, and you booked a role for her, but we have a little bit of tape that we want to show. Take a look.
Okay. So I suppose this is just a mirage, plucking my nerves. Let me tell you something. Me and my girl Yolanda, we know how to get a party started.
What did you see in her, Debbie? What was it about Jada?
She was so alive and so beautiful and had such spirit and edge.
Anything else? I mean, is courageous, honest, authentic, beautiful, spirit edge really enough to fully describe Jada? No, in my opinion, Jenna needs to ask another question, which isn't really a question at all, but an encouragement for Jada to keep making self-aggrandizing statements.
This whole book is about owning your truth, about finally stepping into your power and feeling, going from unlovable to worthy.
Yeah.
What would stepping into your power even look like? This pretentious phrase reminds me of a question from another authentic interview.
When did your seed get planted in terms of knowing that this was a very important thing, that you need to embrace your uniqueness?
Yes.
And, create your own box?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh my, how sweet is that? You've been reading the TIG.
That's right.
Going from unlovable to worthy.
Yeah.
How convenient that the book is about the journey from unlovable to worthy. I've never heard that message before. Also, it seems totally realistic that someone with Jada's personality type has ever not felt worthy. especially when Debbie herself talks about Jada's early ambitions.
When you walked into that audition for Different World, honey, she came in with a light. It was like a Klieg light was on her. She had so much energy. She was so confident. And with me sitting there said, I'm the next Debbie Allen.
Everything in this interview lacks honesty and authenticity, which is most likely why they repeat these words so much, along with a word like beautiful. As if Hoda and Jenna's agenda with the interview isn't already clear, Jenna makes sure to play a trump card by generalizing Jada's courageous story in order to increase identification.
For women out here who are watching from both of you all, if they're feeling less than, what's your advice?
Yes, people need to look to Jada for advice, because she has her house in order.
You know, I would definitely say it takes, I don't think people say enough how much courage it takes to be happy. You know, and that, you know, we feel like happiness is just supposed to be, you know.
Happy. This is the word Jada emphasizes again and again, suggesting that this is what it's all about to her, no matter the cost.
It had been so long since I felt good.
This is the kind of hedonism that Jada euphemizes as happy.
Happiness is...
Jada isn't alone here. In social media posts, videos, and so-called self-help books, influential people constantly emphasize happiness as the ultimate goal in life, at the expense of a now antiquated virtue like responsibilities to your family first and foremost. People pursue happiness as if it's an everlasting state of mind, not simply based on fleeting emotions. What matters is staying true to principles and morals that are everlasting. But something tells me that in the context of this interview, I'm overthinking this. Jenna has now given Jada the opportunity to associate with other women, to increase identification and hence likability.
And for women, we're not always given the permission to speak our authenticity. We have to give ourselves permission for that. And it takes a lot of courage, but that's where your authentic happiness sits, you know.
Courage and work, right?
So where does the authentic happiness sit? Are you happy when you're speaking out? Are you happy when you've achieved something that makes you happy? This stuff's confusing. Or maybe it's just too authentic for me. Jada does what advertisers do as well, play on people's indignation. By appealing to the demographic that she wants to buy her book, she rhetorically constitutes a community. This is distraction as well, as if Jada's story is about anything else than her own decisions in life, that have obviously caused big problems for everyone around her, even though it's all been so great and empowering, of course. Even the affair she had with a friend of the family.
Started a friendship with August, and we actually became really, really good friends. And it all started with him just needing some help. You know, me wanting to help his health, his mental state.
When Aug first came around, he was really sick.
He was really, really sick, yeah.
And the outpouring for him from our family was initially about his health.
Yeah. From there, you know, as time went on, I got into a different kind of entanglement with August. There's something about that childhood trauma that feels as though it can be fixed through fixing people versus fixing me.
Yeah.
And I think that that whole process with Aug really showed me that and taught me that. And I'm really grateful for that lesson.
But we shouldn't let details like that stop Jada from depicting herself as a brave spokesperson for this bigger cause. Thus, she's changed the pronoun I to we.
We have to give ourselves permission for that.
Jenna gave her that opportunity. So she says we, but she's actually referring to herself when talking about courage, because she's spoken out. And when you speak out, no matter what you say apparently, because we haven't heard anything substantial, you're courageous and authentically happy, according to Jada's self-serving logic.
It's a major inspiration.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Thank you for letting me come on your journey with you. I feel like we've been holding hands through this.
I know, Hoda.
You had a good hand to hold.
I did.
You gotta love the professional distance that these journalists keep in mind. That's it for now. If you liked the video, click the like button and subscribe for more videos. See you next time.